our last episode of the opening school, we analyzed the exchange variation in the Slav defense, a variation which can lead into very interesting games, even though it might seem as a variation which only leads the game into a draw. We'll leave that variation for now though, and instead take a look at what happens after white's knight to f3, instead of an exchange in d5. This move is the most common answer against black's c6, and it leads into the main line. Black can of course deviate from the most popular move knight to f6 by playing e6 or d takes on c4, which leads us into quite interesting lines. After d takes on c4, the most critical move here, we enter a very interesting line which was never really taken seriously until the 1990s. By capturing on c4, black not only calls white's gambit, but he also takes control over the queen side, which becomes more obvious after white's e3, followed by black's b5. It might seem as if white has lost the fight for the c4 pawn, but white can weaken black's seemingly strong pawn structure by playing a4, followed by black's e6, an exchange on b5, and b3. Suddenly it seems as if black is in trouble considering the weakness of the b5 pawn, and a move like c takes on b3 is followed by white's bishop takes on b5 check, and after bishop to d7, white plays queen takes on b3. White has now managed to recapture his pawn, but more than that, he has also managed to build himself a solid position where black is quite far behind in his development. So instead of capturing on b3, black should play a5, a move which leads into a very interesting line after b takes on c4 and b4. Black has given up the center completely, but in turn black has gained two dangerously looking pawns on the queen side. This variation is generally accepted, but is still not especially popular. Black players tend to keep to the main line and play knight to f6 instead of capturing on c4. White can once again go to the exchange variation by exchanging on d5, or he can protect the c4 pawn by playing e3. He can also play knight to c3, ignoring black's threat to capture on c4 once again. We won't take a look at the exchange variation, but regarding white's a3, it should be said that the move is a bit slow and that black has a solid position after bishop to f5 or a6. White's knight to c3 is the recommended move though, since it's the most active choice. Black is now at a crossroad with many interesting options, and the main continuations here are e6 and d takes on c4. The positions which is reached after e6 can also be reached if black plays the same move order, but plays e6 as his second move and c6 as his fourth. This position is the starting point for some of the more complicated lines in the Slav defense, and is recommended for those who like playing extremely complicated games. To capture on c4 leads to a more tactical position and has been very popular all since its introduction in the 1930s. After these two main lines comes black's a6, which might seem strange, but it is a commonly accepted move and has been played by a lot of grandmasters, and it's definitely a line which will be analyzed in a future episode. Before we end this week's episode, we'll take a quick look at what happens after the naturally looking bishop to f5. Well, it might seem good, but it falls short after an exchange on d5, followed by white's queen to b3. And after black's queen to b6, white reaches a better position after knight takes on d5, queen takes on b3, knight takes on f6, e takes on f6, and a takes on b3. We'll now end this week's episode of the opening school, and we'll be back again with more on the Slav defense next week, so see you then.